Hello, everybody. Jonathan Pulley here with West Coast Weather. Today is September 30th, the last day of October. And it looks like we're going to start getting into some dry weather later this week. But before that, we have to deal with this upper level cold low that's over California, Nevada, extreme eastern Oregon, and Idaho and Montana. It's going to spark some storms today and is already down here along the Sierra Nevadas and also for some of the mountains in Nevada. And this will continue for the next couple days and then swing out of the area. And then we'll get this next system that's up here in the Gulf of Alaska that will fling over the ridge and right down to the Pacific Northwest. Nothing crazy expected with this, but some rain showers and cooler weather and some breezy winds will be expected with that. And then this ridge that you can see kind of developing over the Pacific Ocean will start to build over a lot of the West Coast, bringing warmer temperatures and the chance of fog for a lot of places, as this time of the year we can get a lot of moisture trapped under a ridge as the high pressure suppresses a lot of the motion in the atmosphere at the lower levels. This causes the prime environment for fog to form, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. And then even later, a week plus out, there's no confidence in this, but it looks like our active weather may start appearing again for the West Coast, as models are starting to agree that the ridge may get bumped out of here eventually, which is to be expected this time of year. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now we're looking at the windy.com app. This gives us a good view of the wind pattern across the region this evening. So right now it looks like there's some north winds coming down the Puget Sound through the Willamette Valley and flowing out over the ocean, generating some stronger winds off the northwest California coast. This is all due to the low pressure system over the southwest. This is also going to cause some prime conditions for some sneaker waves over on the coast of southwest Oregon. So we're going to have to watch out for that if you're out there. Don't turn your eyes away from the ocean if you're out there. And then you can see as we head into Sunday, the wind pattern changes as this low pressure system over the interior mountain west starts switching over the area. And you can see our next system coming out of the north, some southerly winds coming out ahead of this, and also starting to bring some more onshore flow, cooling the temperatures down. As we head into Monday morning, you can see that the winds start wrapping around the southern Olympic Mountains and around the north side as well. This creates a convergence zone right over the Puget Sound of Washington. This is a common appearance this time of the year. It brings a lot of precipitation to some more localized areas. It's not usually a widespread event, but it can create some intense rain showers and even some thunderstorms during some of these events, and even heavy snow in localized areas during the winter time. But of course, we're not going to get snow this time of the year. It's just that we're getting a pretty good convergence zone likely Monday during the day / evening. And you can also see that the winds are going to start blowing through the Columbia Gorge down near Portland and into the eastern Washington area. And then as we head into later on Tuesday, you can see that onshore flow continues cooling down the temperatures. The convergence zone may even last in the Tuesday for parts of western Washington, so they may get some good precipitation amounts under that area. But by Tuesday, we really start cutting off the precipitation as the system moves out of the area. If we go back to early on Monday and change to the rain graphic, we can see that there's some precipitation starting to move out of the northwest as the system circles over the ridge. As we head into Monday, the precipitation starts moving to western Washington and parts of northwest Oregon. As we head later in the Monday, you can see that there's this convergence zone that kind of starts popping up right here. It's kind of hard to see on this model, but here you go. You can see how there's a little more of an intense precipitation area right there along the foothills of the Cascades where the convergence zone's most likely going to be. So maybe some fun weather over there. But let's look at the general ridge and trough position for a lot of the West Coast. So you can see that our upper level low pressure system is over the southwest, generating those showers and thunderstorms down there, and that generally cooler weather. And as we head into Monday and Tuesday, if this will load, you can see that this starts kind of weakening and getting pushed out of the area. And then the weak system kind of comes out of Canada. It hardly brushes us, but the front still comes through, giving us some cooler temperatures and some precipitation chances for the Pacific Northwest. And as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, you can see, wow, look at this monster ridge that starts building over the area. During the summertime, this would probably mean some sort of heat wave, but that may be expected for some parts of California, but places like Washington, Oregon, this actually can cause more of a fog situation because it allows a lot calmer air near the surface and more solar radiation hitting the surface, which that creates the conditions for fog to form. So events like this around this time of the year can really cause some big fog issues for parts of the Puget Sound, Washington, and the Willamette Valley. We'll just have to keep a watch on that. This is still for the 6 days out, but models are really agreeing on they have been, so the confidence is pretty high in this scenario. And as we head into Friday and Saturday, this ridge continues into next weekend. So it's going to keep us warm and dry and with possibly plenty of fog around if the conditions are right. But then look at, as we get towards the end of the European model run, the troughing starts building over the Gulf of Alaska again. The models have been hinting at this for the last couple of days. It's still 8+ days out, so we'll have plenty of time to watch this later next week. So it's just cool to see that we're likely to get our more systems coming in after next weekend. If we head over to the GFS, you can see generally the same thing, the upper level low that's over the West Coast right now. And then as we head into Monday, starts weakening and that system comes out of the north, hitting parts of the Pacific Northwest. And then as we start heading into the middle of the week, the ridge starts building over, warming us up, creating fog for locations, and generally the same story here. And then as we head into later next week and into the early next week, it's actually next week, the troughing starts building over the Gulf of Alaska once again. So there is some sort of agreement, even though this still is really far out. There's some good agreement that there's going to probably be some more storm systems coming in. So we'll just have to continue to watch that. So now let's look at when the precipitation will arrive for a lot of locations. And you can see that there's going to be scattered precipitation over Nevada and parts of California, Idaho, and western Montana, and parts of Utah as the cold upper level low spins over there. And as we continue in the Monday and Tuesday, you can see that system drop out of the northwest over Washington and parts of Oregon, generating maybe a few tenths of an inch to a half an inch for some of the mountain locations. Pretty little amounts for most places, but it's still needed as we still have some drought conditions in the mountains. As we head into Tuesday and later on Wednesday, it starts drying out. This morning's European run actually brings another weak system in early on Wednesday, but with that, there's going to be little to no precipitation with that. Maybe some more clouds moving into parts of Washington, Oregon, but really nothing exposed with that. But as we head into Friday, look at this. The entire West Coast is pretty much completely dry as that big ridge that we saw builds over the area and continues through next weekend. But then you can see right at the end of this model run, you can see the system start to flow back into the region. So we'll keep an eye on that. This is for fun to look at some of the first snow of the season. This is some higher elevation locations in Idaho and northern Nevada and parts of Montana. And even some of the Blue Hills in northeast Oregon may get some snowflakes as this cold low pressure system brings some chillier air over the region. So fun to watch and see the first snows of the season for some of the mountain locations. And now let's look at some graphics from the National Weather Service. This is from the National Weather Service Spokane, showing that the breezy Okanagan gap winds are going to start flowing this afternoon, bringing some breezy winds. Just be careful on lakes like Moses Lake, Bank Lake, Omak Lake, Rufus Woods. So just be careful out and wear your life jacket if you're on any of those rivers and lakes. And there's also a high risk for sneaker waves on the southwest Oregon coast, and this is from the National Weather Service, Medford, Oregon. And these can really sneak up on you. It's really kind of hard to see them, and they sweep up beaches and rocks without warning. So make sure to stay off the rocks and jetties. Logs can float, roll, and trap you underneath them. So nobody wants that to happen to them. And also, this is some graphics from the National Weather Service, Sacramento, California. There's actually some frost advisories for parts of Northern California from about Eureka down to Lakeport. So that can cause some crop issues down there as that cold low moves over and brings some chilly conditions to some of the mountain locations. Here's also a nice graphic for driving safely in the rain. Make sure to use lights and wipers, reduce speed on wet pavement, leave extra space between you and other cars, and plan for delays. That's not only good for when it's raining in California, but really anywhere. So heed those warnings. There's also going to be some gusty winds for parts of the northern valleys as well. This is from the National Weather Service Los Angeles. Even some active weather is getting all the way down there. Chances of rain, it's going to be, the high temperatures are going to be 10 to 20 degrees below normal. Some gusty winds for the coasts and deserts. And there's also a 10 to 20% chance of thunderstorms on Saturday, really anywhere in Southern California. That should be occurring right now. So now let's look at the Climate Prediction Center and see what they're showing for the next week or so. So this is a 6 to 10 day temperature outlook this is valid for October 6th through 10th. And this was issued today, actually. So generally above average temperatures as that big ridge forms over the West Coast. And if we scroll down, wow, you can really see the dry weather we're likely going to have with below average temperatures for much of the northern western U.S. And if we go to look at the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, this is for October 8th through 14th. Above average temperatures still, but systems start creeping in at that time range, so we're going to have to really watch that. And they're showing that on the precipitation outlook with above average precipitation likely for parts of Oregon, Northern California, and Washington. So we're just going to have to keep an eye out on all of that. Well, that's it for this video. I hope everybody enjoyed, and if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing to the channel, it really just helps the algorithm get my video out to more people that may want to watch it. And also hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss out on another video I post. So until the next video, God bless, take care, and have a wonderful weekend.